Hello, and welcome to whysosidious, a nerd podcast where we come from a galaxy far, far away through Middle-earth all the way into the Seven Kingdoms. Today's topic is the House of Dragon, Episode 2. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at whysosidious, and we thank you for being here with myself, David, and Caleb.
Before you continue listening to this episode, this is your official spoiler warning. So if you've not seen the content that we are about to cover, go ahead and go watch it real quick before you continue on. Or don't, I guess. Your call.
So let's give you a quick recap. First scene is a shot of the slaughter in the stepstones caused by the crab feeders. At the small council, Corlys demands retaliation, but is denied. Rhaenyra suggests sending the Dragon Riders as a show of force. She is also denied and is tasked with going to choose a new King's Guard posting. Criston Cole, the dude who bested Daemon in the tourney, becomes her choice. Viserys is pressured into marriage. Rhaenys and Corlys directly offer their super young daughter Laena to unite the two great Valyrian houses, demonstrating unity throughout the realm, but he ends up choosing Alicent Hightower instead. Daemon stole a dragon egg. He sent a message announcing his new wife is with child, along with an invitation to the wedding. So Otto, along with an envoy of guards, goes to Dragonstone to tell Daemon to fuck off. Rhaenyra makes a surprise appearance on her dragon, talks some sense into Daemon, and he even returns the egg. So the standoff ends without any bloodshed. Later, Daemon and Corlys make some kind of secret alliance regarding the crab beaters. So, likes, dislikes. Dave, what did you think of the episode?
Yeah, solid episode, man, all around. From beginning to end, we got the classic Game of Thrones title, which, man, just brings you back. You're back to watching Game of Thrones with that title running through. It's like, we're back. So that was a cool start to it. And it was just an overall solid episode the whole way through. I don't even think I have nitpicks on it. It was just really good. It wasn't as exciting as the first one, but really solid episode. So I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Yeah, Caleb?
Yeah, same thing as Dave. It was kind of what I expected from the next episode, but I still really enjoyed it. They continue setting things up for the season. We got to know the characters more. It was just a vintage Thrones episode. Small council meetings, great dialogue, schemes, just two people in a room talking. Some of the stuff we love from earlier seasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of good conversation in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of quotable lines for sure.
And then just the history lessons. We got the Valyria, where he built the capital of Valyria, which is pretty cool. The whole sculpture he was doing was so
we got
sick.
to see Valyria a little bit.
And then he's talking to the girl about Vhagar, another little cool reference about, she asked where she is now, teasing her return, possibly.
Yeah, what did he say to that? I don't recall what his response was when they were talking about it.
He said she's nested somewhere in the narrow sea or something.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Now who is this?
This is Aegon's sister wife's dragon, the largest living dragon.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Dude, they say her size at this point is like the size of Balerion. Like, she's just as big, and she's supposed to have arguably been the most deadly, like, because Visenya took her out there and tore up places, like, just by herself with that dragon. So that dragon probably has the highest kill count of any dragon.
Damn, I want to see it.
Yeah, it's going to be so cool.
Right.
All right. Caleb, choose a part of the episode that comes to mind first. Let's dive into it. What stuck out to you most?
I just want to talk about Viserys. I feel like this was an overall bad episode for him. A tough look for my guy. Just when I thought we were getting something different, here is our old vintage Thrones king that we love and miss.
Yeah, something's going wrong if you're sticking your hand into a bowl of maggots.
Yeah. But
he seemed totally fine with it too.
Yeah,
He was just it was just a Band-Aid.
Another day.
And that finger is not doing well.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's like all over his body. They're starting to become weird little things.
Mm-hmm.
He
But
cut
every
that
time he gets cut.
6 months ago, though. He cut that, and they're still treating it because that was the cut he got from the throne.
Right.
So yeah, not a good omen for our boy.
They need to get some de-ruster on that thing.
And the man's getting pressured into marrying these young children. It's just a
Yeah.
rough time for our boy.
Yeah.
But he relies on his counsel too much. He's weak. When he's talking to his daughter, he can't even really tell her the truth. He says, "I loved your mother so much." And then she's like, "So did I." And then you can tell he's trying to tell her, "I have to get remarried." But he literally waits until the night before and then doesn't actually tell her who it's going to be. She thinks it's going to be, Lena Valerian. Like, Corliss was pushy. Like, he, kind of overstepped his boundaries, and he said he's been eyeing him ever since he was setting the throne.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, where are the Targaryens at? Like, I thought there was, like, 13 kids of Jaehaerys. There's no Targaryen he can marry that's, like, of age?
Right. I thought we were definitely going to have more Targaryens. That's why I predicted we'd see a lot of Targaryens get killed off, but yeah, there's not a lot on screen.
Well, plus, what happened to the tradition of marrying in your family? Like, is a Targaryen being married to him off the table? Is that like further in the past?
No, his last wife was his cousin.
Yeah, Emma was his. Yeah.
I mean, I think some of the maesters and stuff are trying to like go against that by now.
Yes.
But the Targaryens are like, nah. But everyone gives him great advice that, marrying Corliss's daughter is the right decision. Like,
I was going to say,
like the advice that it's the master of war. I forgot his name.
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He gives him great advice. Like, you need Corlys. There's a war is brewing in the Stepstones, and you do not want this guy as your enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One thing I appreciated, though, is he acted like a real human being. Like, yeah, it's a duty thing. And even when Lena talked about her doing her duty, he in a very genuine response, he was like, is this what your dad told you to say? I mean,
right.
Like, you could tell he's being very genuine about it. He's a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Even when he was consulting, maybe it was the maester about Lena, and he was like, well, why are you so reluctant about it? And he was like, she's 12.
Right.
So just very genuine responses. It's not pure duty with him. He actually feels weird doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have a relationship with Alicent.
Yeah, they actually have. At first, it felt weird in episode 1. The age difference is still weird, but at the same time, they are like bonding. They're having normal discussions like they are friends.
Yeah.
She's playing both sides.
Yeah. Hard to get a read on her if she's like super nervous or if she like actually wants to be with him. It's like I can't get a read on her.
Well,
yeah. Did you guys see the inside the episode where the actress was talking about it?
Yeah.
So I won't dive too much into it, but basically the actress said it's fully genuine. Basically saying like she's there because she knows how much her dad suffered when he lost his wife. And she's there because she's strictly concerned about Viserys and wants to make him feel better and understands. But I don't believe that's the only. I mean, the reason why she was there was because her dad made her go there to basically pimp her out, like Caleb said. And it's the whole thing is a plot. It did come off parts were definitely genuine, but I don't agree with the actress saying the only reason she's there is because she knows how he feels and wants to make him feel better. It's like, no, the reason she's there is to get power and to lock down the throne. Like, but their scenes were unexpectedly kind of some chemistry in it. Like you're saying, JD. Yeah,
it's strange. So initially it was maybe a duty thing, but maybe unless she's just really good at faking it, I mean, it just seems like a genuine relationship, but we'll see. Okay, so what's up with the crab feeders? Dave, Caleb, I mean, you guys have done a little research, or maybe it's Fire and Blood that you guys read. I don't know anything about these crab feeders.
Well, that's just one guy, the crab feeder. I don't know what the rest of his gang are called, but I don't know. I don't really know much about them. I know where they're from in the Stepstones, but I don't really remember them from the book at all. So I know they're pirates.
Yeah, they tie their enemies to poles and they wait for the tide to come in so the crabs can feed on him.
Yeah,
and he's a mercenary hired by the Triarchy, which is Lys, Myr, and Tyrosh. And the Stepstones are a small rocky island chain south of King's Landing between Westeros and Essos near Sunspear. On their own, they have essentially no value at all, but they can't really be built on, and there's no soil to farm and no minerals. However, the trade between Westeros and Essos is critical. The Stepstones could provide a suitable base of operations for any pirate who wanted to harass ships as they traveled the southern part of the Narrow Sea and create outrageous tolls for anyone trying to pass. Yeah, so basically they need to be taken care of, because if they get too much power, all the inventory coming into Westeros is going to, have a couple extra stops on the way.
Yeah, dude, we've seen how trade routes can be very important. Not in Star Wars, the old trade route thing was a pretty big deal, and in our own world history.
I was gonna say,
yeah, issues with trade routes causes some pretty gnarly conflicts. So,
yeah, okay, yeah. So I honestly thought crab feeders were a group, so I'm glad you guys pointed that out.
Okay.
So was that the dude they showed towards the end with that had a weird
With the mask?
looking, like a kind of an Ochi looking character? I don't know.
Yeah, he almost had one of those masks from Marine, the slavers, like they were wearing those.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that.
Cool. All right. Dave, when you first think of this episode, what comes to mind? Let's dive into it.
All right. First thing that comes to mind generally is the bridge scene in Dragonstone. Now, I know we'll dive probably a lot into that, but a specific part of that really sticks out from this episode was the dragons. Getting to see Caraxes and Cyrax in the same scene, the lighting and everything of Dragonstone with all the fog and everything, like it was perfect for the CGI effects of the dragons, because they looked miles better and they looked amazing in this episode. And just the Caraxes whole thing, like its nickname is the Bloodworm. I think it's a she. Her nickname's the Bloodworm. But dude, I just love the design to her. Like, it's so different from other dragons. It's almost got like this kind of carnage like style to it. Like it's just super menacing, like doesn't look like all the other dragons. So I just loved seeing Caraxes sitting up on the mountaintop looking over the conflict, and then Cyrax showing up too, and just seeing two dragons on each side of this conflict. It was just a beautiful shot. So that scene, obviously there's more to talk about with that scene, but for now that's the main thing, is the dragons in Dragonstone. I loved it. Yeah,
for me that was a turning point in the episode. That's when like they did a really good job at making the tensions high, and you finally got to see Daemon and the dragon floating underneath the fog or the clouds coming in. That was beautiful.
And the fog pushing up. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
the design on that, man.
Yeah, Daemon in general just did a good job. He's still like a super complex character. I can't tell. He's doing more villainous things now, right? I mean, he stole the egg. He's occupying Dragonstone. Never know what he's up to. Never know what he's doing back there. But still shows a hint of affection towards Rhaenyra. I mean, he kind of submitted and gave her the egg. Even at the end when he's talking to Corlys, and he's like, he says stuff about his brother. Corlys also says some stuff about Viserys, and he's like, well, be careful. Like, hold your tongue. I could talk about my brother like that, but you cannot.
Yeah. Right. Love that.
So he's still kind of treading both sides, but he plays it really well, dude. Like, he's got this really cool, calm, confident behavior, and kind of sarcastic towards Otto and the rest of those people. But with Rhaenyra, and the actor does a really good job at portraying this really settled, like he became genuine as soon as they started talking.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it was like that was the whole reason. Like the reason he stole that dragon egg, and everything he did was like specifically to get Rhaenyra's attention.
Yeah. Well, he literally said in the letter, he's like, I am the rightful heir to the throne.
Yeah.
Bold words. But then, Rhaenyra shows up and he's just genuine towards her, which is cool. Sarcastic to everyone else. Like when he sees Kristen Cole, he's like, what is your name? Crispin? I don't recall. Yeah. And then the dude goes, perhaps my prince recalls when I knocked him off his horse.
That was a good comeback.
Yeah. Good little banter.
I like him.
Got to be a rematch at some point, right?
Oh, yeah.
Has to. Yeah.
Totally. So, that was a good scene. Like, they were about to throw down before Rhaenyra came in with her dragon.
That was the only thing that was going to stop him, was Rhaenyra. Like, Otto wasn't going to talk him down. Like, he doesn't give a damn about Otto. Like, he didn't react. Otto tried to provoke him the whole time. He didn't react. He didn't care what Otto had to say. Only emotion he showed was after Rhaenyra, and he turned around and threw the egg back at her, kind of pissed off. But
yeah, and he doesn't show a ton of ego or pride. Like, he just submitted. Like, he walked away, threw the dragon back, and he was like fine with it. That's why it's like so weird. He seems like he might be a villain, but with his family, he's very reasonable.
It's a great point with the pride thing, because again, when he got beat at the tournament, he's kind of posed as the villain, so we're all waiting for him to chop the guy's head off or something.
Yeah.
And he was a good sport about it. He kind of smirked and stuff. It wasn't like his pride was damaged and he threw a fit. Like, yeah, it's
not your cliche standard character. Like, he's very complex.
Yeah.
But he made all that up too, because his Massaria isn't pregnant and they're not married.
Right.
And then it was cool getting a little backstory on her. Like, she doesn't want to be pregnant. She doesn't want a rival heir to the throne in her belly to where she can be killed now. Like, she came to Daemon to be safe. She doesn't want her life to be at risk. Like, why are you doing all this? Like, let's just keep it cool.
Well, and it says something about Daemon to accept that role. Like, she came to him for protection, like,
to be liberated. Yeah.
Yeah.
So at what point did she get... Well, at what point did she get mad at Daemon when, so apparently she understands that language because they were talking in Valyrian, and that was when she got mad, turned around and walked away. So was she just pissed? Like, oh my God, you're lying about us having a kid and all this stuff. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Or maybe she knew once Rhaenyra found out, she knew the trick was over. So she just walked away like, all right, this is stupid.
But she didn't even know he was telling them all that. So, I think she was like, wait, you're telling your family I'm pregnant and like provoking them essentially when you're supposed to be protected. I think that's what set her off.
Yeah.
Like, you can afford to play your games with the king. I cannot.
Yeah.
Caleb, is he a villain? Is he a hero? Is he hanging out in the gray area? What do you think?
He's a little more towards villain than hero right now, but he does have his, like you said, he's loyal to his family. You don't talk crap about my brother. And if my niece shows up and, she really wants the egg bag and she makes a good point, all right, you can have it, but I'm still going to be pissed about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, if we go back to the first small council thing, I almost feel like Corlys is right. You should show some force. Like, you should send some troops over there and take care of things.
They show over and over again that dragons always win. And Rhaenyra says, we have dragon riders. Let's just send some dragons. Like, just send 3 dragons over there. Burn half of them, send a message, and the rest will go right back to where they came from.
Yeah, no risk. I mean, I don't think they're going to be shooting that scorpion dagger at the dragons. I think you can just go in, burn them up a little bit, and leave, and then, the mission complete.
Yeah, he said the losses would be tremendous.
On their part.
On both sides. He said both sides.
If they just sent a couple... because of the trade route thing.
Yeah, that's in the small council meeting.
They think it'll cause a war with like all the free cities, which is a lot. Essos, everything over there. How many free cities are there? 9. You said, Caleb? 9. Yeah. Well,
Unsullied though.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Were they still were Unsullied rocking back then? Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Corlys had a great line too when he was pleading his case. He said, to elude a storm, you can either sail into it or around it, but you must never await its coming. It's like, yep, you got to act. You can't wait till you're on your heels, and it's too late. You got to do something.
Which really just shows once again how Viserys is a very timid king. He avoids conflict at all costs. Like, I sent a couple envoys over there, and they're going to, see if we have some common causes. Like, he just wants to settle things without conflict. But sometimes, like, you're a Targaryen, you have dragons, you need to show that you are the dominant force in this.
100%.
Got to make the hard choices sometimes. And he's still a good king compared to others.
I was going to say, the only thing that makes him not is he never puts the hammer down or makes that bold decision. Everything else is solid. He's just, just a pushover.
Exactly.
Yeah. And these people aren't just like taking over lands. They're like tying or, nailing alive bodies to posts and having the crabs eat them alive. Like, these aren't just your regular old people. Like, they're doing horrific things. Like, I think a little dragon fire wouldn't hurt.
Right? Dude, and another thing at the meeting, man, so I didn't know where I sat with Otto after the first episode. Like, I knew he's a schemer. I'm not really sure, I'm on the fence about him a little bit. But as soon as he dropped that line after Rhaenyra suggested that and says, maybe we can find something else that better suits the princess's talent. Basically just trying to shut her up. I was like, oh, all right, I'm done. I don't trust this guy anymore at all. And it just kept going on throughout the episode where it was just like, I don't trust him. Even when Rhaenyra was picking the Kingsguard right after they put Sir Criston Cole's piece on the board and he looks at it and kind of rolled his eyes and like he sighed. He let out a sigh and kind of gave this look where it was like he doesn't want Kristen Cole to get selected for some reason or whatever, but he just has so many plans that I just do not trust him, do not like him anymore.
Yeah, it was just politics, family ties. Like he wanted a knight that was associated with the family in one way or another. And Rhaenyra had a great point. Kristen Cole has actual battle experience. Like I would trust that guy to protect anybody before those other guys who have only fought in tourneys.
Yeah, it was a great point by Rhaenyra. Like,
yeah.
And when it comes to Otto, the day after Viserys' wife died, he was pushing in the small council meeting for him to get remarried. And then when 6 months later, when Laena Valerian gets put forth, he says, I loved my wife so much. I would hate to replace her. You shouldn't rush this kind of decision.
Yeah.
And then I feel also when it comes to Alicent, I feel like she's just the same as Otto because they keep using that same quote against him. Like Alicent has mentioned her dead mom multiple times, and now Otto is saying this. And when Otto said it, Viserys looked up at him he gave that look like you and your daughter are playing me right now, using my wife and your wife / mother to get close to me and to get my feelings. Like they're playing them.
Just pure manipulation.
So I don't like Alicent.
At least on Otto's part. Yeah, Alicent, I still feel she's so politically inclined. Like her mind is very politically inclined that there's no way. And she's talking about secession all the time with Rhaenyra already. So yeah, even like JD said, their chemistry did come off actually more genuine than I expected. But I still feel like she's definitely also plotting at the same time.
So Rhaenyra gives us Arya vibes. I think Alicent a little bit gives me Sansa vibes, just because she knows her role and she plays her role, whether she likes it or not.
Well, you know whose lines she read when she was trying out for the part? Cersei.
Sansa? Cersei? Okay, cool. Yeah.
They had everyone use lines from the Game of Thrones show, and her lines were Cersei lines. And then I think Rhaenyra was like Arya lines.
Okay, I think Corlys had like Tywin or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
I could see that. Viserys certainly is not a Tywin.
No.
Ned?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, more of a Ned. Okay. Daemon and Corlys. I mean, I like it. You know what I mean? Something cool is going to happen. I think they're going to bring a lot of force to the crab feeder. Are they really doing something super bad behind the king's back? I mean, it is. They're secretly doing something the king specifically said they shouldn't do. At the same time, I do like it.
It's technically treason.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely treason, but I like it too. And kind of saw it coming. Corlys has been very vocal about his support for Daemon in the first episode already. And yeah, you kind of saw it coming after a while. He keeps getting ignored, and now his stuff is getting messed up, and they're still not listening to him. So it's like, well, I know somebody who will help.
So say they go take care of the dragon feeders. What's the backlash going to be? Not for them, but for the throne, for the kingdom.
Probably get exiled, I would imagine.
For them, but I mean politically,
for the kingdom, I think it's just they're worried about the free cities again. The whole war with the free cities. They've never gone to war before in the history of the Seven Kingdoms, and they just don't want to do that regardless. But again,
I feel like they have good reason
to not attack.
To attack.
To attack. Yeah. Oh, they're totally overstepping their bounds.
They took 4 ships. One had my flag on it. Like they're taking out like Westeros ships.
Yeah. The Royal Navy.
Right off the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't just lay down.
It's the same thing with when Tywin is talking to Jaime, and he's talking about, well, Tyrion is kidnapped, so we got to go do all this, blah blah blah. Otherwise, the realm's gonna think less of us, And Jaime goes, "Oh, so we do concern ourselves with the sheep, or with what the sheep says." And he goes, It's a fact. It's a fact. If we can't protect our own family, then why is anybody else going to fear us if we can't even protect my own son? Like,
yeah, that's a great callback. It is just like that. That's the difference of Viserys and Tywin, dude. Tywin will never take that shit. He will do something to say, fuck off. This is not going to happen under my watch.
Gotta send a message. You gotta save face. You can't just make it seem like people can attack the crown and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. So I'm guessing they're going to do that. I think that's. I mean, where else is the conflict going to go at this point? He's got a new wife. There's stability there. Daemon pretty much submitted, so he's kind of in his corner. It's not like he's going to go to open war with the king directly. The only other conflict I can see happening is if they go take care of the crab feeder situation and the backlash onto the throne, onto them personally. That's got to be where we're going.
That or Rhaenyra, after she found out Alicent was the one who Viserys named, like, I feel like she's going to snap a little bit there. Like, she's no longer going to be the heir, and her best friend basically just deceived the hell out of her, went behind her back, and is now marrying and stealing her line of succession. And I don't know, Daemon, I could see, I don't know. I could see that being a huge conflict, though, is Rhaenyra being spurned of her seat.
Yeah, I keep making the mistake to thinking that we're going to continue it in this exact time era without that jump, because otherwise I would say to that, that's just a little conflict between a couple friends, not a lot of repercussions. But you're right. We're going to go years down the line when maybe she is pregnant, and that will cause a ton of conflict.
Right. I know. I keep forgetting the time jump too. So I was thinking they weren't going to time jump into the next episode, but
they are.
Apparently they are, according to the sneak peek for the next episode. So
I missed the sneak peek. The jump is happening next episode, huh?
Yeah.
Apparently, right? I missed that, but Caleb saw some.
Skip ahead 30 seconds if you don't want to hear this. So in the sneak peek, he has a son named Aegon. And it's like a baby boy, and he's showing it to Rhaenyra.
Viserys.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It skips all the way past the wedding and her birth of the child.
Honestly, good.
I kind of like that. Yeah.
I would have liked to see a wedding. Weddings are always fun. Someone could die.
Someone
could die. I love weddings. People always have the chance of dying.
Yeah. Right?
the red wedding, Joffrey,
purple wedding. Yep.
Yeah, no, but I do like it. I like how this show just gets to the core of things. There's plenty of character development. There's like the perfect amount of character development, but it's getting to the core of the story, like the things we want to see. So instead of developing for the next 6 years, like it's probably a pretty smooth 6 years. I mean, I don't know. And then in 6 years from now, but then like if Corlys and Daemon are making this pact now, I guess if we're jumping ahead 6 years, they're not going to do anything that significant. Or else the show, I mean, all that stuff, they can do it off screen, but damn, that's kind of the stuff we want to see.
Unless it's a long con, like they're just planning.
Maybe Corlys and Viserys is like the first part of the episode. Then it kind of goes ahead to later. Maybe.
For sure. Totally.
And then jumps like maybe a year, year and a half.
Yeah, where there might be like a current war, maybe like they boom, beginning of the episode, they go retaliate to the crab beater, and then it jumps ahead. This Viserys has a son. They are at war. Yeah.
I feel like if I had to guess that this episode is going to be the slowest pace, I feel like, or the least amount of stuff happening. Like it was still good. It set up a lot of stuff, but I feel like we're going to start rolling faster and faster into some crazy stuff.
When it comes to the time jumps, I feel like once they get to the older actors, they're going to slow down. I hope. Because
I hope that. Yeah.
Like let's not jump a year at a time every episode or 6 months at a time every episode. Let's slow down.
Let's not pull an Andor where 3 episodes takes 2 years or whatever it is.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we'll see how that one works out. I'm still a little curious. Yeah, another just real quick, the whole Corlys and Daemon thing. Corlys knew what he was doing. Like he knew Daemon was going to be the guy to go to, but I really like the line. He goes, "We are the realm's second sons, Daemon. Our worth is not given. It must be made." And then Daemon kind of slowly, gives him a little look there. It's like, yeah, that's the line. That's the line to get Daemon kind of light a fire under his ass.
Yeah. Hey, Dave, do you have anything or Caleb, but do you have anything on Rhaenys and Rhaenyra's conversation?
Yeah, man, I really enjoyed that. Rhaenys is an interesting character. When her and Corlys have that talk with Viserys, they obviously have a plan in mind. Like they're being very pushy. I feel like she's a little bitter, and whatever she can do to kind of maybe get back from how she was spurned at the Great Council. but with their talk with Rhaenyra, it comes up, and she goes, telling her she's never going to sit the Iron Throne. And she says, men would sooner put the realm to torch than see a woman ascend the Iron Throne. They had a chance, to pick somebody and they chose not to. And and they rejected it. And Rhaenyra goes, they rejected you. They bent the knee to me. And even though in itself, Rhaenyra doesn't really seem to believe that, because she even said later in the episode, she's like, my dad didn't choose me. He just spurned Daemon. Like, that wasn't a thing about picking me. It was a thing of not picking Daemon. But I thought it was a really cool line to Rhaenys there. But I feel like Rhaenys is going to have some scandalous stuff, man. She's got some stuff up her sleeve with Corlys.
Totally seems scandalous. She kind of just like brought the heat to Rhaenyra there. It's like, damn, she kind of just called her out.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to get remarried and she will most likely give him sons. And then you're in trouble.
Yep.
Well, and she also explained it like Rhaenyra didn't understand the order of things, when I felt like Rhaenyra like definitely understood her situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, I don't need a lesson in politics, but then she pretty much gave her a lesson in politics. So,
yeah, she was going to give that lesson, whether Rhaenyra was listening or not. But yeah.
Yeah. Is Rhaenys going to play a big role, Caleb? You guys have read the books. Is Rhaenys a big player, or is she kind of going to drift away?
She's a side character, I would say.
Okay.
She does, she stays involved in the story for sure. And she is the most experienced dragon rider in the whole show.
Really?
Oh. Who's her dragon?
Because she's still, I don't know the name, but she's been riding it. She's in her 50s and she's been riding since a child.
Yeah,
so
fair enough. Because Viserys, he rode Balerion once. And then that was Balerion's last flight. He like circled around the city like 3 times and then just landed without Viserys even telling him to land. He was like, yeah, I'm done, man. And Viserys never got on a dragon after that, which is interesting.
That's so weird.
The king doesn't have a dragon. What is this?
Yeah. You rode Balerion, you're not going to choose another dragon after that. Like, you had the Black Dread as your dragon and you're just
big red
done.
flag.
A Targaryen king doesn't have a dragon.
Yeah, that in
like
itself.
you're weak.
Red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, do you guys have anything else about the episode to talk about specifically?
Yeah, just the Dragonstone scene, just to get a little bit more in detail with it. I love the dynamic scene between Daemon and Rhaenyra and that chemistry building, but the whole the atmosphere of that scene, not only the setting, but the mood and the tone of everything. It's dead silent when they're walking across this bridge with this deep, heavy fog rolling in. And then all of a sudden on the other side, there's Daemon and his gold cloaks. And like I was kind of saying earlier, it's cool to see Otto and Daemon go back and forth, because we had that first part in the first episode where Daemon is provoking Otto and Otto stands up and gets pissed. He reacts and Viserys goes, hey, you know, my brother makes sport of getting a rise out of you. Like, sit down, calm down. And so it was almost like Otto was trying to do the same thing to him. He's saying, you're an embarrassment to your family. You're dishonoring your legacy, your family, yourself. Like, he's just going off about him. And Daemon didn't react once until the very end when they all drew their swords. But it was like Otto was like trying to provoke him, talking all this trash, saying super disrespectful stuff. And Daemon thinks so little of him that he doesn't care. He didn't react like at all. So I just loved seeing that opposites, where Otto freaked out on him and Daemon just doesn't care about him.
And his responses were pretty spot on. He was like, well, isn't this kind of what's expected of me as a Targaryen? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Everything he did was golden. Daemon's for sure my favorite character so far.
Yeah, totally agree.
And I love Matt Smith's voice work. It's great.
Yeah.
He kind of sounds like Ramsay. His voice.
Right. Or someone.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little Viserys in him too. Like OG Viserys.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Maraxes.
The eunuch?
No,
Danny's older brother.
Oh, yeah. The eunuch. What an idiot.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of that, just not like quite as straight up evil. And like, yeah.
All right, let's get into the ratings. Let's just do a quick rating, and then maybe if you guys have any predictions for the future.
Sounds good.
Caleb, what do you rate this episode?
I got this episode at a 9.2.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it was a high quality episode, just another great Thrones. It just gave me vintage vibes.
Mm-hmm.
setting up the story, plots and schemes, great dialogue. Loved the Dragonstone scene. The Dragonstone scene was the best part of the episode for
Definitely.
sure.
Okay.
All right, Dave.
I got it at an 8.6. I didn't think it was like insanely great, but it was just literally, again, I didn't have a nitpick from this episode. Like even the wig even looked good on Damon this episode. Everything, I had no nitpicks for this one, but it just wasn't insanely like crazy stuff happening to where I'd put it above a 9, but it was really good. I mean, I don't blame you. It was a just really solid Game of Thrones episode that felt like peak Game of Thrones, man.
Yeah. I my thing was 8.62, but I'm going to go back to an 8.5. We go a little different. The first time I watched it, I felt it was slow until the Dragonstone scene, but I was also kind of taking care of the twins, like they're being like a little fussy, so I wasn't fully attentive to the conversation. So on my second watch, I realized the conversation was all actually really good and interesting, so I liked it more the second time. So yeah, nothing insane happened, but the Dragonstone scene, that was really cool. The tensions, yeah, just a lot of good character and story building. So solid 8.5.
Okay.
So do either of you have like a strong prediction that you're confident or excited about?
I don't anymore once I found out there was a time jump. I do have something else to throw out later, but yeah, my prediction's kind of went out the window because if it's time jumping, I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, the next episode is titled Second of His Name. So I'm guessing it'll go off of Aegon and Daemon because they that line that Corlys gave him, we are second sons. Second of his name, maybe.
Well, I think he said that because he's Viserys' little brother. So
I know, but just second of his name. Yeah. There could have been a Viserys. Is there a Viserys before him? He's
Viserys? I don't know.
No, he's not the first Daemon. There was a Daemon before.
Thought the second Daemon was during the Blackfire Rebellion. I kind of thought he was the first Daemon, but I mean, it's very likely he isn't. They reuse the names a lot. So
yeah, I was hoping to get the wedding. My prediction first was we get the wedding and then Daemon crashes the wedding. I thought that could have been cool.
Ooh,
that'd be interesting.
Okay.
Like, you don't show up to mine, here I am at yours, brother. Like, that could have been a cool little scene. Maybe, he gets in a fight, kills somebody, and then flees on his dragon real fast.
Right.
But yeah, it looks like there's a considerable time jump, but it did show some little dragon action.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Finally.
Saw that in the sneak peek after episode 1 too, where that one shot where a dragon is flying over kind of like a trail on the side of a steep mountain.
Yeah.
And he's just
so it's gonna
burning
be the step
through.
stones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I imagine that's going to be our next big action scene, is something involving the crab feeder or stepstones. So I don't really have any crazy predictions except where the story's leading, and of course Noel showing up. But other than that, it's just like we're obviously just going to get more conflict with the crab feeders. And if it's a time jump and that baby's born, we're going to get a lot of conflict with Rhaenyra and Alicent.
Yeah,
their friendship has to be over.
Say. Oh yeah, the beef is brewing now for sure.
And now, I mean, Daemon said he was the rightful heir to the throne. Now he absolutely is not. If there's a son,
right?
You think he's that villainous where he wouldn't try to go kill the son, right? He's not. That's his family. He wouldn't do that.
I don't. I would hope that he wouldn't.
No,
I think that's even crossing the line for Daemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as like my prediction guy, I have one small one real quick. I was going to throw this in there earlier, but the scene, Viserys drops the stone dragon and it shatters on the ground when he's showing Valyria to Alicent. And it just felt...
hells. Love that line.
It felt nice to hear that line again.
Yes.
But it just felt like symbolism, like heavy symbolism. Like Viserys slips, he drops the dragon that shatters on the ground, and then Alicent picks it up and she brings it back mended, fixed, and returns it to him. So it almost feels like heavy symbolism about Viserys is about to blow something or whatever the case is, or already has, and Alicent's heir or Alicent's son is going to be something to, I don't know, something like that.
The next dragon.
Yeah. Seriously, something like that. Because he lost his son, dragon broke, and now Alicent picks it up and gives him it fixed. Alicent brings the son. It was a lot of symbolism in that little scene right there that stuck out.
Yeah, I love that. Now I didn't even really put that together. Now that you mention
Yeah, me
it, it
neither.
seems on the nose. Like that's
Right?
gotta be. Yeah. He had a lot of omens going on with his freaking getting scratched by the Iron Throne, the dragon
Yeah.
falling and breaking.
They're all bad news for him, it seems.
Yeah, he is not going anywhere good. He's got a tough road ahead of him.
Yeah.
I did have a question for you guys. Had a question and then a little quick interesting theory tidbit. So what do you think was the worst marriage decision? Robb Stark choosing Talisa or Viserys choosing Alicent? Now I know we already got the end results of Robb's decision,
That's
but potential for Viserys's decision. Which do you think was the worst marriage choice?
I gotta go with Rob just because he is literally in the middle of a war and he just promised a guy to use his bridge that he would marry his daughter in return.
Yeah.
And he goes right back on that word and then hopes that, hey, you know, he'll still stick with me after this.
Can I use that bridge still?
yeah. That was my same exact point. So I'll go
Yeah.
with Rob. But again, we
But-
don't know how this thing ends with Alicent.
Yeah.
It's got
Still pretty
potential.
dumb.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was interesting. But yeah, we'll see what happens of it. But it just reminded me a lot about Robb's decision.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree, Dave? Do you think Rob's decision is going to end up being the worst decision?
End
In
up,
history?
it's hard, man. I think I said yeah. I wrote down Robb's was the worst decision. Like, and I didn't even think about the in the middle of the war timing of it. Like, obviously, it led to horrible stuff and the red wedding and everything, and the bridge. Everything about it was just a horrible
Well,
strategy.
Broke a promise too. It's like
I'm
that
going
was
back
like
on my answer.
Oh, cheater!
The decision to marry Alicent is the beginning of the downfall of the entire Targaryen dynasty.
possibly. Yeah.
No, possibly, yes, possibly.
Yeah, I guess you do have a little.
Well, they rule for another 170
No, it
years.
definitely
150
is a
years.
possibility.
Yeah, that's true. It's still the Mad King, but yeah, it kind of.
But they're never the same after this because
Yeah.
just how they go at each other. You know, the only
Yeah.
thing that could end the Targaryens is themselves.
So that you kind of
Rhaenyra.
answered my next question would have been what would make that decision such a poor decision to make it worse than Rob's decision, and like in general the downfall of the Targaryens, but specifically I can't think of how that would bring it about.
I think just the fact of letting the High Towers in and not only spurning
Okay.
your little brother, but your daughter as well. You just denied two different Targaryens and chose this teenage girl who was manipulated to go and see you, and you kind of took the bait full on. But again, that's with us knowing more than Viserys knew. So from Viserys' standpoint compared to Robb's standpoint, Robb's was way worse.
Yeah, the decision
Viserys doesn't
itself.
have a way. I mean, it was still a bad decision, but Robb knew all the consequences. Like,
Right.
I don't-
Yeah, that's true.
I want to throw something out real quick right before we wrapped up. There's an interesting theory going across the world of Game of Thrones. It has to do with the Maesters. So the theory is basically that the Maesters feel that the Targaryens and dragons are a threat to Westeros as a whole, and they're worried that eventually they will lead Westeros to doom, just as they did to Valyria. So the theory goes that there's almost like an Illuminati type of all the Maesters, like a conspiracy group, that they're all working together across Westeros and the Seven Kingdoms, and the main goal is to get the Targaryens out of power. So it makes sense, and it's super interesting because now anytime I watch a scene with the Maester giving advice to Viserys, that's going to be in the back of my head, like, is he playing him? Is this like a part of the long con kind of thing to take down the Targaryens? But it's interesting. I just heard it last night or this morning, but it was like, that kind of makes sense, actually, because of course Westeros would be afraid of dragons and the Targaryens, you know?
It's actually mentioned in the books too. I forget who says it and when,
Okay.
but they're like, why does every lord in Westeros have a maester? You know, like why does the Citadel send out a maester to every single lord? And then, you know, those maesters are sending ravens back to the Citadel so they know everything that's going on with every lord in the whole continent.
Yeah.
You know, so there's definitely something going on. Like they want their hands on everything.
Interesting.
Dragons in that age is like you just developed a nuclear bomb and you're the only world power with a nuclear
Yeah.
bomb.
Yeah. Imagine one family in the world who's the only family in the whole world who had nukes. Like you'd probably be pretty afraid of them.
Right.
Someone's definitely trying to overthrow you in a little secret society.
Mm.
And Varys is kind of the same way in season 8. You know, like he goes for the realm over Targaryens. You know, he sees the same way.
Cool. Anything else before we wrap it up?
I think Sir Harold's the dopest character out there. I'll just throw that out. I meant to say that earlier, but I feel like he's one of the only few characters who's actually just isn't planning anything, isn't malevolent. He's just there to do his
The
job.
Kingsguardman?
The Lord Commander?
He's Rhaenyra's sworn guard. I don't know if he's Lord Commander because it's confusing. I thought he was, but they keep referring to other people as Lord Commander at one point. I thought,
yeah,
but it would make sense.
Yeah.
He's at the council meetings and everything, but
and he always just has this look on his face, like, "Oh, what the hell just happened?" And then he kind of just sits back and allows it to go on.
When Otto made the joke to Daemon, saying, you know, Viserys isn't here, you wouldn't show up for this mama's farce. And he just, and the Kingsguardman just looks at him and goes, "Oh, dude, like that was so stupid. Why did you say that?" You know?
Yeah, but I like him. I think he's a genuine dude. So I'm gonna be sad when he eventually dies because I'm sure, you know, you can't have a good person live in Game of Thrones.
Definitely gives me Davos vibes.
Yeah, totally.
But
good point.
A lot cooler. I actually wasn't a fan of Davos. Like I get it.
No?
I know that's a hot take.
It is a hot take.
I respect him. I respect him. I just felt like his screen time was always pretty boring, even if he was having an important conversation.
He is a horrible husband.
Fair. Oh, I always forget he's married. He just
his wife has been waiting for him this whole time.
He's just doing his thing.
What a guy.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us again here at whysosidious, a nerd podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at whysosidious, and we will see you next time for the Lord Rings of Power debut. We're all very excited.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks again, David and Caleb. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
7 L's.
We'll see you next time.